Hey YouTube, the whole world is clamoring about our new 1v1er, if you didn't know, and his name is Beastmode. This is another video covering matches from Joreuz, the $2 million LAN that happened in Saudi Arabia over this last weekend, in which Beastmode ended up playing some 1v1s for his team. Now, if you guys have watched this channel for a long time, then you're well aware of the fact that version 1 has arguably a better 1v1 player on their team than Beastmode, and that, of course, is Daniel. Daniel handling the 1v1s for this team for the group stage, or I forget, I don't know if they call them groups, but either way, before the playoffs, they had Daniel handling the 1v1s because he is one of the 4 best 1v1ers in the world, probably, when he's playing his game. But LAN is maybe a bit different. So today we're going to talk about why Beastmode played so well, why he came onto the scene in these best of ones and made such a splash, and maybe why some of your favorite 1v1ers didn't have the best of events. Because, you know, obviously Beastmode hopping in means Daniel wasn't playing up to his liking, and there's at least a few other cases where that happened, and I think for the most part the same situation happened to all of them. So what I think the biggest thing that Beastmode did, and we're going to see throughout the course of these 1v1s, is he played them as if they were online. He played them as if they were online, and what do I mean by that? Well, I mean he took risks and played kind of an aerial focused game. Not necessarily focused, but willing to take the kind of risks that sometimes lead to game losses in online show matches, but things that are necessary to be a top 1v1er. And there's specific moments throughout his gameplay where you notice, especially when you've been watching a ton of LAN 1v1s live, how different he plays them. Now, for you guys, if you didn't watch the tournament, you might be watching Beastmode here and thinking he's playing pretty normal 1v1. But it's important to talk about the fact that everyone was playing very, very safe. In these best of ones, in these LAN environments, with such a big prize pool, you'll see all these 1v1ers shifting towards taking the safe option when given 2 choices. And it becomes a bit predictable and makes it so that defending against that player is a bit easier. Beastmode hopped in and immediately played it like there was no pressure on him. If he lost, it didn't matter. He was coming in as basically a sub for the 1v1s, and he was willing to take those risks, and I think that's why he's able to surprise some of the top 1v1ers in this tournament. So we're going to go watch through his replays. We're going to go watch through all of them, including, if you watched yesterday's video, the Rw9 versus Beastmode 1v1 that a few people were saying, you know, you forgot that one. I decided to include it in this video, and the one highlighting Beastmode, but that, of course, against Rw9 happened in the grand finals. Version 1 and Rw9 actually played earlier, and Daniel played for that 1v1, and Rw9 dominated. Almost didn't even let Daniel score at all, so that can give you an idea of why they shifted towards Beastmode. But Beastmode, surprising Joreuz, someone who has probably not played Beastmode at all. And sure, Beastmode hasn't played his opponents as much either, but I think that element of surprise goes in favor of Beastmode. When he talked on Chalkedcast, because he actually got on Chalkedcast the Monday after the tournament, or maybe it was Tuesday, whatever, you know what I mean. He mentioned how he felt like there was no pressure on him, or at least a lot less pressure than on a guy like Daniel, because no one would expect Beastmode to win. He would be coming in purely as a sub, and as he takes a nice aerial down to the ground, cuts it underneath Joreuz. And it's interesting how much I think that that is relevant, and how players react to that kind of pressure and to that kind of community opinion. I don't know if you guys agree with this, but it definitely results in players maybe not playing certain matches because of where they stand in the community rankings. But I think it can even lead to as much as affecting how they play on the field. And in Beastmode's case, because he has essentially, you know, no rating in the 1v1 scene, certainly nobody would bet against him against, you know, some of the lower tier 1v1ers just because he's Beastmode at the end of the day. Certainly in the top competitive level, no one has a read on Beastmode. Nothing is required of him, and nothing is expected of him. Unlike his teammate Daniel and some other people in the 1v1 who or the 1v1 world, who were expected everything of them, expecting to absolutely dominate everyone but the top players. So Joreuz, as I talk about this beast mode run, this is probably the biggest example of it. Up 6-3 with a minute left to go. Not only that, beast mode actually did a lot of fake kickoffs too, which I think one of the downsides of somebody who maybe doesn't play as much 1v1 is they'll be unwilling to adjust their kickoff. They want to just take a standard the whole time. Not the case with beast mode. He was wise enough to recognize that he needs to mix it up if he wants to pull out a win, and he's about to do so against the Joreuz that had beaten Zen, a Joreuz that in best of ones can be nearly impossible to stop. He came out and surprised him in game 1. 33 seconds. I say game 1 because they actually end up playing a second 1v1. Joreuz very confidently picks 1v1 again for Oxygen after, as I'm slightly spoiling it, but I think it's clear, after losing this first game against him. And when I was watching it live, I was watching with a few of the people in the player lounge, and I actually said that I think it's still the right idea. I think it's still the right idea for Joreuz to go back, because I think a little bit of that element surprise will go away, and because I think Joreuz is not the kind of player who makes the mistakes that I was saying some others do when the pressure is on. Joreuz has always been a good best of one player. So game number 1 is going to go to beast mode, though. He joins the 1v1 scene in style, and we'll check out the second match between him and Joreuz. No more element of surprise for beast mode. Joreuz head on picks 1v1. I mentioned in the Rw9 video, not a ton of teams picking 1v1, but this is the kind of smooth operating I'm talking about. And I'm just going to jump back and watch it again, because these are the kind of shots, you know, a high chip to the ceiling into a wave dash catch, you know, not everybody was willing to go for. Beast mode not backing down from it. But as I was saying, Oxygen, one of the few teams that did pick 1v1. They were willing to bet on their single player, like Rw9 was with Rw9. Joreuz single jumping with very little boost. Or not even single, might have been double jumping up to get that touch. Not a really smart idea. I remember thinking that was a big mistake by Joreuz in the moments. Beast mode not having trouble with the kickoffs as he wins this one. Air dribble, never really on target. But the follow-up has Joreuz pinned back. Beast mode not just retreating to net, not just immediately leaving the play, but constantly staying on the ball and aggressive. Gets this demo, and maybe a missed opportunity here, but mostly wants to play keep away, and slamming it high on that near post actually makes it so Joreuz has really no chance at all to stop him. And it's forced him back off the ball. So beast mode with control, starting the air dribble early and then resetting low, taking the ball on target. All these kind of plays, like this low reset, something that is really not a great or safe play to make in 1v1. Low resets like that are often resulting in soft touches that lead to slow recoveries because you use that low flip. Not something that beast mode is worrying about. All he is worrying about is playing on the ball and playing in the flow state, really. Backing off Joreuz now. Joreuz wants to get a possession as he plays it into his own corner. Beast mode doing a great job of never giving space and just sticking around, being there for if Joreuz ever loses control, and he does. Again, another fake challenge by beast mode. Gets Joreuz to give up the ball. Joreuz has been able to slow the game down now as he recognizes what beast mode can do and finally is able to starve him out from the midfield. And just over 2 minutes in, Joreuz on the board. Beast mode, that fake kickoff on the diagonals, something he goes back to a lot. This time it doesn't work out as well for him. 0 boost to the midfield. Joreuz using his boost advantage to get up to the ball and prevent beast mode from ever making a play. Now counterattack for beast mode, and he absolutely slots it. It's not going to be easy to do, to get up and make that shot, but That's the kind of speed that translates into any game mode. Beastmode missing that flip into the midfield. He actually won the race, but he needed to set up his front flip such that he clipped the boost. And there's an example of Joreuz playing like it's not LAN and it's not $2 million and it's not best of one. And I think that's the reason why Joreuz actually plays well in this tournament as well. Joreuz to the skies. First touch, absolutely nothing. Especially nothing when he lands back down turtle on the ground. And so it'll be a goal for Beastmode. And that exactly right there is what players are worried about doing. And what players refuse to do on LAN often is try and get creative with the risk of, you know, turtling and leaving what feels like $1,000 goal, you know, because who knows, that one goal might end up being the difference and might be the reason why you can't get a huge chunk of prize pool. But the reality is that the players willing to do it are all the players who had the most success. So I think at the end of the day, you have to shake off those worries and play it just like we see in those show match formats. But right now, regardless of the fact that Joreuz is playing that way, Beastmode still has the lead, trying to pre-flip underneath this ball. Got a bit ahead of the dribble. Joreuz to the skies. Beastmode, the pre-jump. Great pre-jump defense to stop that air dribble. 20 boosts to work with. It's just going to be a power shot from Beastmode. Potential boost steal, but he doesn't get there in time. Will stay on the ball. I'm not sure he's going to be able to follow up that chip when Joreuz has the clear advantage, but he does buy himself enough time to get an advantage of his own. Now it's the exact opposite side of the field, but this time Beastmode with 100. Joreuz gets there last second with 0. So a couple trades back and forth of possession as both these guys try and get both the ball and boost and couldn't manage to do so. Beastmode's going to back off this setup. Actually makes it back in time. Can't get the double. Too quick on the ball. Prioritizing Joreuz not being able to make a play over a potential shot attempt, but starved of boost at the midfield. And he's forced into a bad 50. So 4-4 with 37 seconds left to go. Beastmode off to a hot start. That Joreuz has finally recognized how to slow down. And a lot of that is recognition. This was an absurd save by Joreuz. We watched it from his perspective, so you could kind of tell that he had a chance the whole way. But if you watched it live, it was actually insane because the camera angle was not on Joreuz, so he just went off the screen. And only later could you find out that he recovered back to make the save. Beastmode quickly into a first touch air dribble. Playing with speed over playing with thought, I would say. But that's what's been working for him. And now he's got an overtime against one of the most clutch 1v1ers to do it. Wave dash kickoff doesn't seem to work for Joreuz, but he does still get possession. Beastmode has the 100. Joreuz recognizing he does not have time to grab that midfield 100. It would put him too far out of position, so instead, able to go for that back wall clear, grab his back corner 100. There's Beastmode trying for an impossible angle. Joreuz is going to launch a musty, forcing a really tough save out of Beastmode. And here's that possession play again. Joreuz this time taking the ball down. I think, you know, not in overtime. He might go for that full field dribble in a different context, but instead he does play the ground game. And at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing to play it safe as he goes low 50. And it does get him a goal. The problem is the players who exclusively do that had a really tough time. But anyways, Joreuz takes Beastmode down in the rematch. He asked for the rematch himself, picks to go 1v1, and says, I promise Beastmode can't do it twice, and he was just barely right. But Beastmode continued to play the 1v1s for version 1 as time went on, so let's go check out him against TRK. Beastmode against TRK, certainly considered an upgrade in opponents from Joreuz. Not that Joreuz wasn't playing well. Did have a Zen win, but TRK was maybe considered the best 1v1er at the tournament, at least up until this match against Beastmode, because not only was, I believe, he was undefeated in all his ones games, or he might have lost to Yan. But either way, he's been playing well, and Now he's up against Beast Mode, and specifically, the part that you guys maybe wouldn't know about is the fact that when the players were scrimming, a lot of ones matches happened, and it was well known in the player lounge or amongst the scrimmers that TRK was eating scrim 1v1s alive. He was just dominating every opponent, including, I think, Beast Mode, if not a couple others that, you know, should be able to put up a tough fight. You might have noticed that Nupo actually joined the Falcons for this tournament, and I think the expectation, confirmed by at least a couple people, was that Nupo was going to play the 1v1s. You know, the plan was for Nupo to play the 1v1s. TRK had been declining both tournament invitations as well as different show matches. Beast Mode. Beautiful. We're going to go watch this again. Sorry, I was on the wrong perspective here for this shot. This one's better looking from the offensive point of view than the defensive. But there's another example of one of those shots that lots of players aren't doing, but Beast Mode is. But anyways, as I was saying, I think they were going to have Nupo. TRK didn't seem as interested in playing the ones. Despite being highly rated on the leaderboard, it seemed like they favored Nupo. And Nupo, to be fair, last time he had played TRK, I think swept him. So it did seem like Nupo was more on form. But in the run-up to the tournaments, Nupo didn't grab a single win. I think he played in 2 matches or maybe 3 and did not grab a single win against the opponents he played against. So it didn't seem like Nupo was on form, and ultimately decided to have TRK help them out. So I think Nupo will bounce back. I'm not too worried about that. If you guys haven't checked out the LAN, I do recommend going to check it out. Get to see Nupo in person, which I think is one of the few MENA players that we watch a ton that maybe you haven't seen, or at least I had never seen Nupo in person before. So it's cool to see him alongside the Falcons. But right now it's about TRK. And TRK finds himself behind against the newly found 1v1er. I say that, but of course, Beast Mode has played show matches and stuff before. It's just been many years since he's focused on the mode. When asked if he planned on playing a lot more 1v1 on that Chalkcast, he said he was a bit afraid of becoming a 1v1 player, and he's not necessarily interested in grinding out more ones. In fact, I think his point, which I don't necessarily disagree with, is that his advantage in this tournament was the fact that he isn't a ones hard grinder like maybe some of the people he got to play against. Right now, up 3-2. Continues to hold the lead on TRK and force him to try and make his way back. Air dribble bump. TRK gets a touch on the ball, but it only slows it down. And Beast Mode extends the lead further. TRK on the zero boost bounce dribble off the kickoff. Forced into flicking past the nets in order to maintain possession. Certainly still the right idea, though, as Beast Mode sees his opportunity to boom the ball. Best he can do as he ran out of boost, creeping up the midfield. TRK just grabs the 100, knows Beast Mode's going to have to back off. Beast Mode does. A little bit of a mistouch there from TRK at the midfield to try and start that dribble up. That kind of hesitation makes it a bit easier on Beast Mode to defend. Now Beast Mode sees TRK on the wall and hopes to just be able to win a 50. Trying to get down in low 50 when already up on the back wall is a really tough position to play from. Beast Mode knows it. He just barely couldn't get it inside the near post. What a flick from Beast Mode. Insanely powerful. Threatening that reset off the backboard. And because of what Beast Mode has been doing and the way that he's been playing all tournament long, you have to recognize that he might just go for that. He will take that shot if given to him. So TRK up to try and stop it, and ultimately allows Beast Mode to play the safer option and actually convert on it, as opposed to many others who were exclusively going for that. Beast Mode dunking and diving. He played very aggressive throughout the whole tournament. We've seen passive 1v1 styles in the past have success. I think Daniel, you know, around the time that he was playing at a really high level, I don't know if he's really the case anymore, but when he has initial rise, he had a very defensive play style. He would back off and hand you the opportunity, rely on his defense, and then crush you on his available, full field dribble that he'd be able to get after his defensive stand. I think a lot of the 1v1 game has shifted away from that as it becomes just impossible to defend those attackers when giving them that much space. But 6-3 with 51 seconds left to go, it's starting to become kickoff territory for TRK if he wants to come back in this best of one. Beastmode not backing down, not playing passively, not just accepting the fact that he could give space, maybe make a couple saves and end the game. No, he recognizes that the best thing to do is stay on ball, forcing TRK into an unideal setup, and at the end of the day, he then takes an air dribble that really was never threatening at all, but all that has to come from Beastmode's aggression. Otherwise, you see TRK setting up a much cleaner setup. Like right now, a much better one, but look at Beastmode. He flies to the ceiling and immediately intercepts. He will not let you go to work, and he is rewarded with a game win, and they advance to face Rw9 in the grand finals, and specifically had a Beastmode versus Rw9 1v1. The main event 1v1, the game that we did not include in the previous video so that we can include it here. Everybody was hoping to watch Rw9 play Beastmode, something that you maybe wouldn't have expected going into the tournament. I think before Gamers 8 started, you would not have had everybody. I can't wait to see the Rw9 Beastmode 1v1. In fact, everyone was saying I can't wait to see the Rw9 Zen 1v1, but I think at this point, at least for the people who had been following the tournament, this one was going to be even more interesting. Sure, Joreuz was able to get one off of Beastmode, but TRK getting so thoroughly beaten. I think it would end up 7-3, but definitely wasn't just a sneak by Beastmode. Was leading this to be very exciting. I really like that cheeky save from Rw9, by the way. Talk about not playing scared in a crucial 1v1. I think that's a great example of, maybe not necessarily an aerial play that you use a reset, normal kind of risky play, but instead being willing to pass to yourself off of your own post with your save in order to try and counterattack. Fortunately, Beastmode ended up bumping him, but definitely the right kind of aggressive mindset. Right now, Rw9 picking 1v1, I believe, in game number 2, as version 1 won the first 3v3. And like I said, Rw9 very confident in their 1v1 ability, even with Beastmode playing well. And especially because they probably want to avoid the Beastmode Daniel 2v2, because the Beastmode Daniel 2v2 was unbeaten up until that point. Rw9. Quick camera check in the corner. Look at the aggression from Beastmode defensively. It's not even that dangerous of a position if you ask most defenders. That dribble from that attacking corner, yet Beastmode does not want to let you get any of it. And look at this fake. This is a reward. The crucial reward that you only get when you play the way Beastmode has. It's not easy to make a defender like Rw9 miss. But Rw9 feeling threatened by that flick. Beastmode cannot get back around to this ball. So the pressure from Rw9 is enough as he ties up the game with 3 minutes left to go. Rw9 the kind of guy to not mix up his kickoffs too much. And I'm just noticing, especially on this Sandy Shores night or whatever, Salty Shores, is I just got a new PC. And I think my Rocket League settings have a lot of stuff turned on still, because this car is the shiniest car I've ever seen. But I'll check it out, and I'll make sure the settings gets back to what it used to be before. I think there's just a ton of lens flare turned on still. I'm guessing probably just everything is max quality. But either way, we won't let that distract us too much from the gameplay, as another kickoff goes to Rw9. One thing that Rw9 is willing to do, and has been for a long time, more so than a lot of other players, is still take those grounded long shots. He just puts enough power on them that it starts a solid possession and enables him to pin defenders back in ways that I think everyone else feels like they can't do. Normally those long shots from too far out are just wastes of a possession. Not the case for Rw9. Cannot chip this over the top of recovering Beastmode. He's decided to cut immediately in field here. Beastmode resets on the 100. And Rw9 maybe making a bit of a mistake by doing so. Can't stick with the play. Has the boost disadvantage. And gets himself demoed. So 3-3. What is a sweaty 1v1. Beastmode can make such a statement. He's able to take down Rw9 in this one. Rw9 not taking the high shot, instead using that jump to push himself back down. And recognizing, I think, partially because no midfield boost, he's just going to go all the way back to his corner and attack again. Really resets. Falling a bit far from the net. I do think Rw9 would use those flips if he had made it closer, but really no choice but to go low with that setup. Rw9 trying to stay close, trying to make Beastmode feel like he can't bring the ball to the ground. The process of saving it. Ultimately, Beastmode does get enough space to push Rw9 back. Now, Beastmode chased out to the midfield, didn't get the 100. Rw9 knows it's time to go quick, and look at this shot from Rw9. Talk about not backing down. He needed to punish Beastmode for diving out to midfield to grab the 100. And if you get a decent setup, then it isn't even risky. It doesn't take too much to make the shot. Because Rw9 didn't get the most beautiful setup of all time, he's going to need an amazing flip to finish it. The kind of risk, like I said, I said it a million times, but just the reality of how this tournament went, the kind of risk that most of the 1v1ers were not taking. Especially in a tie game this late. They go, oh no, it's not worth trying that shot. I might miss and I might lose. But both these guys not worrying about losing. Beastmode diving to get a demo to tie it up after Rw9 took that crucial lead. 18 seconds left to go. You were almost expecting the game to end off kickoffs, because how can it not? At least once in a 1v1 tournament, and I feel like too many of the other games weren't that bad, but Rw9 wins this default one, or the standard kickoff I should say, and both of them go back to the standard kickoff, but Beastmode gets his back. So just when he needs it most. Now 8 seconds, and we are tied. This time at diagonal, Rw9 very clearly trying to force it right, succeeded in doing so. Beastmode trying to make it awkward, but a full field possession for Rw9. Definitely should take this one instead of letting it grounded, and the flick is a bit high. Maybe crossbar down and in could have been a win in regulation, but it's overtime. Just a single goal for Beastmode to take down the currently undefeated in this tournament 1v1er Rw9, and clearly the best 1v1er that the tournament had to offer. Low 50 for Rw9. First kickoff possession in his favor. Has yet to let Beastmode out of net, and he's going to flick his way all the way to a goal. So it might not have been a direct kickoff goal, but it was a kickoff possession that Rw9 did a good job of holding on to. And he does take Beastmode down, so a great performance from Beastmode. I mean, going to OT with Rw9 is something to be, proud of, really, even though, unfortunately, it was a loss for him in this game. But if you guys did watch Gamers 8, then you know that this was actually the only win that Rule 1 got in the grand final. So Rw9 holding it down in 1v1, completely undefeated, but his team couldn't hold it on. And credit to Beastmode and Daniel, who maybe I'll do a video about them as well. Let me know if you'd like that in the comments, where Beastmode and Daniel's 2v2 team could not be stopped. But either way, thanks for watching. Maybe a couple more Gamers 8 videos. We have some more show matches coming up. Appreciate you guys and all the support, and I will catch you next time. Don't forget to potentially subscribe.